Yeah. All right, we're going to show you 3 pages. You tell us about this.
So I just make a couple of marks on the page, and I just like the organic quality of it. I was going through a period of time where I was drawing a lot of tree roots and things like that, and tree stumps and stuff, and just intersecting lines and just seeing where it came out. And this kind of got me into sort of being interested in going towards anatomy because this looks very anatomical to me. So.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Alizarin Cafe podcast, where I am sitting next to my very special guest, the esteemed artist, Timothy Smith, everybody. Timothy Smith.
Hello, everyone.
Timothy Smith, thank you for being on our program.
You're welcome, Jane. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling on this fine day?
Oh, wonderful. I'm definitely like having a day in the studio and getting out and seeing my dear friend Eugene, who's a esteemed artist in his own right. So feeling good today.
Awesome. Well, today we are actually in our studio set up for our podcast studio. Now that we have this huge budget because we're sponsored by Smithwick's. Smithwick's, the best Irish red ale there is. So Smithwick's is our sponsor today, and we thank them. Cheers to Smithwick's.
Thank you, Smithwick's.
As we like to say in Ireland, sláinte.
It's almost Smithworks, which is my Instagram handle.
That is.
So my Instagram handle is SMITHWERX, just so you know.
Yeah, so we'll put that on the screen so you can see it and you can check out his Instagram page because he is worth checking out. The reason why we have Timothy Smith with us today, folks, is because he made the trek all the way here to our studio to talk about 2 things that he has coming up, which are spectacular, and we want to know all about them. So, Tim, the one that's starting in a couple of weeks, let's start with that.
All right, on Monday, November 10th, I'll be giving a talk and a workshop at the Orion Art Center at Moose Tree in Clarkston, Michigan. And so from 6:30 to 8, please sign up if you can. We'll put the URL up on the screen for you so you can go and click on that or copy and paste to your browser. I'll be giving a quick talk about my history in illustration and fine art creating, and how I make my prints, my paintings, my drawings, who influenced me, and also show some little pieces of my work, what I've done over the years, who I've worked for, and then we're going to have a fun time with the workshop afterwards, creating things and with mixed media, and so that'll be a lot of fun, and I think that you should join. And come and sign up. I think it'll be a great time for everybody.
Yes. So, Tim, I'm very excited about this. Ever since you and I sort of mulled over the idea of getting you out in the public eye, because you're the best kept secret in the city of Detroit. You come all the way from the East Coast.
That's right.
You worked in New York City for quite a long time in the professional realms. You studied at the School of Visual Arts in New York, which is one of the top art schools of all time. And you had some of the greatest instructors that anyone could ever have in that capacity. Marshall Arisman.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us another one of your teachers.
I had Carl Totolo. I had Thomas Woodruff. Frances Jenner was my thesis advisor in my second year. She does amazing lino cut work, which influenced me at that time. But that's the type of work I was doing in that era. And met Stephen Heller, who was the art director or lead editor for the book review at the New York Times. So I got some work through him. Hate to name drop, but there were definitely a who's who that came.
Yeah, I mean, these are a lot of, if you look up any of these names, you're going to find a plethora of information about them. And they're just at the top of their game in their respective field. One that comes to mind that we haven't mentioned, Jerry Pinkney, who is a very well-known and respected, not only illustrator, but children's book illustrator, amazing artist. I got to meet Jerry, and I got to meet Marshall, 2 of his teachers when I was teaching at the College for Creative Studies. We met at the Atelier in Royal Oak, where you teach. So if people like your talk in 2 weeks on the 10th of November, Monday, the 10th of November. And by the way, just to make a little note on the location, it's at the Orion Art Center in Lake Orion. So make sure that you check that out. We're going to put all the information on the screen so you guys see it. So back to people studying with you. They could study with you in Royal Oak, but coming in January, you're going to be teaching in Lake Orion. Tell us about that.
I will be doing a 4-week workshop once a week, Monday nights, from 6 to 9, where I will be hosting these workshops, and each week we'll be doing something different. Whether we do collage work, pen and ink work with mixed media, color pencil, what have you. We're gonna have 4 different methods of doing illustration work, and so 4 different approaches with mixed media, because I've never been able to be pegged down in any particular sort of genre in the way I work. And I realized I need to embrace that. It's funny, at the beginning of my career, they're like, your portfolio is all over the place. You have all these styles, and so we don't know what we're gonna get. And meanwhile, my daughter tells me that that's a huge strength these days. So all these years later, they're saying, we love your various styles.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Drink
that.
to that. Smithwick's our sponsor.
Yeah. So I guess having a range and kind of versatility is sort of a strength these days. I don't know, but that's the way I've always worked. I've always wanted to try different things and just be as good as I could at it. And I still do that. I use mixed media a lot. It depends on what I'm working on. Like I could spend months working on an oil painting, a few minutes doing a pen and ink drawing with a lot of energy to it, which is a lot more intuitive. And I like these different approaches to work. I really have a voice in many different ways here.
So Tim, you've got this Monday night class coming up at the Orion Art Center. It's going to start in January. I'll make sure that I put links to the Orion Art Center on the description of this YouTube podcast.
Yeah.
This podcast will also be available on Spotify as a video, and then you'll be able to hear audio versions on YouTube as well. And then there will be an audio version available through Apple. So people will be able to hear you in a variety of different streaming services, which is fantastic.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so we're really going to spread the good word about you. Now, talking about you as an artist, behind us, we have on our projection screen, which I want to thank Smithwick's for that, because they really pulled out all the stops. They're like, what do you need? We're like, how about a projection screen? And then bam, there it is.
There you go.
So we've got your website up here, and this is one of your paintings that I saw in an exhibition on Mackinac Island in an art museum.
That's right.
How cool is that? Now, is that oil painting?
That's oil. Yes, it is. It's 36 by 24 oil painting. I did a series of 3 of those. There's that, and I also, I did a series of 3 of those at that same size. And I did a drawing too, that is part of that series as well, a graphite drawing. That doesn't look anything like this, but the 3 I did look similar to each other in this aspect, where it's sort of from the same photo shoot, and just rearranged the rocks at least, in the fabric. And that's basically symbolic of, the stresses of life and all that, and what I was going through at the time when I was painting this series. And, it's great how everything works out, because I'm in a much better place now inside, and everything has been working out, and things have really turned around. And in that meantime, I met this great man here, and I'm working at the atelier where I made these paintings that I was hired by the director there to join the faculty. So a lot of things have turned around for me in a very good way. And I'm really producing a lot of art these days, and I'm really happy about it. So
Well, the loss in what I would call the commercial art world, which includes illustration, which you were a part of for a long time. I mean, that's really what you went to school for.
Yeah.
The loss of that world is the gain of the fine arts world, because you're bringing a wealth of knowledge, not only skill sets, but the people that you studied with, all the amazing techniques that they breathed into you that are now coming through in these works that are so beautiful. And, the piece that we're looking at here, it's a long-term piece. We know that, and it demonstrates that side of who you are. Let's talk about the other side of who you are. Some things that maybe the students will get a chance to experience, not only in the talk/workshop coming up on November 10th, but how about the class that you're going to teach? You have some samples right here. Let's look at all this stuff.
I do. Okay, so for example, so back when I was a younger lad, where I used to work in color pencil a lot. So this is something I did when I was around 24 years old. And so that was based on these old black and white photographs that were done, I think, by dancers from Arthur Murray's dance studio. And I believe so. I still have the book somewhere that I just found this picture of a geisha dancer just so elegant and it's just very, very nice. I just love all the wrinkles in the fabric of her robe she was wearing. And it was funny because at the time I was very influenced by a color pencil artist named Bill Nelson, who's based out of Virginia. And it turns out, I swear I didn't know this. I submitted this to the Society of Illustrators, to get in one of their annuals. I was not accepted, and it turned out Bill Nelson was one of the judges. And it turned out Bill Nelson also did this drawing. Prior to me doing this, I had no idea, and I was like, no wonder I was rejected. He was like, he thought I was copying the guy, and it was an amazing coincidence. So I've had so many of those coincidences in my life. Wow. I used to work in color pencil a lot. I did a ton of work like this back then. But right after I graduated college, between my college and SVA, my work exploded because I just started doing all kinds of really tight work. I did caricature sort of illustrations of rock stars, Mick Jagger, Jim Morrison, on and on and on, and Carmen Miranda. I did all these things, which I don't have with me, but you'll see. Then I started getting into linoleum cuts when I was in SVA. SVA was 95 to 97.
Look at that. So this is from linoleum.
That's linoleum.
It's
That's
a print.
tiny little print.
So let's look at one of these.
So these are actual plates that I made.
Okay.
So that one was for an editorial piece I did for the New York Times.
So if you look, guys, this is a piece of linoleum. You can see there's like a cloth on the back and a little burlap. And then on the front is the linoleum. And it's usually, this is the type of thing that you might see on floors in commercial buildings, right?
Yes.
So this doesn't have a color because basically you carve into it with a sharp tool. And then the areas that you don't carve into are the ones that receive ink. So when you roll ink over this, that is where the high points are receiving the ink. Then you can put paper on this and you can make a print.
That's right. That's right. Here's another one I did for the Village Voice.
This was for the Village Voice in New York City, the newspaper, the Village Voice. Isn't that cool illustration? All done on a carved piece of linoleum. Look at that.
So, and then when I was at SVA, I did, my thesis was on prisoners and capital punishment. I did a whole bunch of, ton of prints for that. So this is one portrait I did of a condemned prisoner. And so.
I'm just going to bring it in real close so they can see all the detail. Look at that. So cool. Tim, you really resonate with so many different forms of art, whether it's drawing and painting and then printmaking, which is something that we know has been around for a long time. And artists like Rembrandt did paintings, we know that, but he also was a big printmaker. He worked with etching.
Yeah.
And I think the allure for artists at that time, they didn't have Photoshop. They didn't have access to photography. So how else could they take one of their drawings and do multiples, sell it?
Right.
So they could make a lot of money off of one drawing by printing it.
Sure.
And that's the old fashioned etching technique that, when it first came into play, we can find ancient books that have etchings in them that are really fun to see, back in the beginning of the day when we had printed materials. So you're following this.
The great ones.
It's been around, for centuries.
Right.
And you're carrying it through, this form, which is linoleum. Do you want to show any of these things?
Well, a couple of things too is like, for example, with this portrait, for example, I did kind of incorporate some modern technology with that. So that's back in the early days of Photoshop in the mid to late 90s. I would scan in a photo of someone, and then I would kind of do some manipulation to it. Then I print out the manipulated photograph. Like I would put some sort of enhancement effect around the face and do whatever. But all these patterns, I made all those up myself, of course. I would carve it out. And so I was interested in doing the whole series of portraits in this manner with more famous people. Never got to that point yet, but it's still on the table, a possibility. So I did kind of.
Did you hear that, folks? You heard it here first. He just mulled over the idea of doing more print.
It's not been recorded, so I don't want anybody going there first.
I think it's going to be cool.
So I've done some just random organic ink drawings. So you just use a couple of pages. Here are your pages. Okay.
Yeah. All right. We're going to show you 3 pages. You tell us about this.
So I just make a couple of marks on the page, and I just like the organic quality of it. I was going through a period of time where I was drawing a lot of tree roots and things like that, and tree stumps and stuff, and just intersecting lines and just seeing where it came out. And this kind of got me into sort of being interested in going towards anatomy because this looks very anatomical to me. So there's a lot of things like sea creatures and sea life, which is they're all kind of weird and things. And say, what else do I have in here? Oh yeah, then there's this one, so there's a lot of
We gotta bring it in close.
yeah,
There's a face
abstract
in there.
things in there that really,
This looks like a face to me.
it kind of does. Yeah, it does. And so, but I was very much into like tree roots, tree stumps, trunks and all that and all those things. And
When you look at this book, it's about 5 inches by 7. It's very unassuming. You don't realize the greatness that occurs inside a very simple black sketchbook that really doesn't leave much to the imagination when it's sitting there. And then you open it up and the greatness of an artist comes through. Now, why don't you show some of these pieces?
I will. All right. So these pieces here. Now, what I'm going to be demonstrating on November 10th is how I went about doing these drawings here. Now, there's something at MoCAD. I designed MoCAD in downtown Detroit, okay, which is a modern art gallery. They have something called Monster Draw, which is a fundraiser for the gallery. And our artists are hired. They volunteer their time to come in for 1 hour at a time. They have 3 shifts. Each one is 1 hour. And you draw as many images as you can. It doesn't have to be monsters or anything like that. It can be whatever, but the very spontaneous thing. So these are warm-up drawings I did before I actually went out there. So I drew with India ink and different writing utensils, whether they're quill pens or combs, various things I could draw with, and just being very intuitive and not trying to control anything. Then I'm going back in with some pastels over it, and also use Letraset transfer, dry transfer letters, which are very hard to find. I've just accumulated those over the years. I have tons of those things at this point. And
Do they still rub off?
some of them don't. Some do, some don't. Some of them just stick to. Yeah, I mean, if you've had these things for 30 or 40
Let's drink the
years.
Letraset.
Letraset, Smithwick's,
Smith
by
Wicks.
Smith Works.
By Smith Works. That's right. Smith Wicks and Smith.
I'm very grateful for this company.
Hey, let's say your
Perfect.
website, we're gonna put it on the screen at this time. So I know it's Timothy, the full word Timothy, and then your middle name Andrew.
Yep.
And then it says Smith. So Timothy Andrew Smith, all one word, and then the dot, and then the word art. So it's Timothy Andrew Smith .art. If you want to find his website and check out the work that we're showing on our back projection screen, thanks to our sponsor. Let's talk about this.
So when I started attending classes at the Atelier in Royal Oak, I hadn't really had much experience in oil painting. But I knew I could draw. I loved to draw and all that, which I had that going for me. So the director set up a still life for me to paint from because I had no idea what I wanted to do yet. So these are all props from the studio. So that's my first oil painting. And that was from about 2018, 2019, something like that.
Now, is this a one-person show that you had?
This was part of a.
Or is this a
show.
promo card?
But I made it myself.
You made this yourself as a
Yeah.
way to promote
Right.
the show that you were in?
Yes. And it's
Okay.
also I wanted to just get my name out there.
Have a promo.
Yeah, I have cards. Any artist should have a bunch of these.
Because as we're looking at your variety of works in your website, stuff you brought here, let's take a look at those paintings. But in the meantime, I can't wait for his first one-person show. Are you guys with me on this?
Yeah.
Could you put a comment under the description of this podcast on YouTube if you agree that you would like to see Tim have a one-person show? I am going to be the first one to write that in the comments, but I'd love to hear from you guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
I appreciate
so tell us
that.
about these. I'm going to hold these up. So because these are the real deal. So I just showed you a postcard of one of his paintings, how detailed it is. But now we got the real thing. This is on wood panel.
Yeah.
Then there's more wood on the back with the wire so you can hang it up.
Mhm.
And then he just painted directly on the wood. Wait till you see this.
Yeah. So that was part of the series. These are stone studies that I was doing for the series that you see behind me on the screen. I was doing a bunch of things regarding Petoskey stones, which are unique to northern Michigan. And people see those, and especially if you're from this particular area, they know exactly what they are, and where they came from. And a lot of people collect these things, so it's working on a series of these. And studies are 8 by 10 inches. So they're practical enough that I can carry them around easily, and I know my wall in my studio. So there you are. And so there's a lot of earth tones. I got to practice making a lot of these cool colors. Now, this is a pretty neutral palette here, as you can see. But I love working on the lights. I shot all these in my studio. My kid and I were setting up the lights and all that, so we were working on it together, getting these just right.
I don't know about you guys, but seeing work like this and then seeing some of the other work that you just showed us, like this kind of stuff, and what was in your sketchbook, and I'm thinking to myself, this man has the skills. Like, when I look at all of this and I think how varied your approaches are, your printmaking, I'm like, man, I want to study with this guy. Like, I want to take your class because, you're not just this one thing. You, like Leonardo da Vinci, see all of these different approaches as part of the whole.
Oh, sure. Yeah, very much.
Well, listen, Timothy Smith, one more time. Monday, November 10th.
Correct.
Starting at
6:30,
going for
90 minutes to 8 till 8 o'clock.
90 minutes. So it's an easy breezy in and out, nobody hurt on a Monday night.
Right.
You not only get to hear him talk about his life as an artist, but you also get to do something at the
That's me.
workshop.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have a hands-on project for these people that show up.
I will.
And
And
then you're gonna promote a class that starts in January and goes for 4 weeks. Now, are all 4 of the sessions in January, or does it trickle into February?
just all in January, beginning
All
of
in
February.
January. So listen, plan on this. The New Year's comes, and then you have something really good to look forward to, a class with this man for 4 weeks, and every week is gonna be different, but it's gonna be in a progression where you're gonna be able to take all of his different varied methods and put them to the test, give them your whole slant to it, your unique approach as an artist. So Timothy, we want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
being on our cheers. That's his business card,
That's another painting I did, the rooster.
and that's on his website,
It's on my website for sure.
andrewsmith.art.
That's right.
Well, Tim, thank you so much. We're gonna see you on another podcast, I'm sure. But right now, don't forget, Monday, the 10th of November, come to his talk in Lake Orion. It's at the Moose Tree Center, which is part of the Orion Art Center. We'll put that all up in the description, and we'll see you there. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Hope you like my work. Thank you. Please come. Bye-bye.